Good morning, everyone. This is Meenakshi Dudeja once again with you today with a new chapter of class 10th, which is Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom. This is chapter number 2 of the book First Flight. This is an autobiographical sketch of Nelson Mandela. Now, a question may arise in our minds that who was Nelson Mandela? If I start by saying this, that Nelson Mandela was kept in jail for nearly 30 years in his life before he became an eminent personality, then most of us will be thinking, then why are we studying about a person in jail? Then I must begin by saying that Nelson Mandela occupies the same position in South Africa as Gandhi did in India. He spent a lifetime fighting against racial discrimination of the white rulers, and he became South Africa's first black president in 1994 after more than 3 centuries of white rule. Now let us know, where is South Africa? It is a continent and the largest country in southern Africa and the 25th largest country in the world by land area, with over 57 million people living in it. Before I start the actual summary of the story, I would like to share a poem with you about racial discrimination. When I born, I black. When I grow up, I black. When I go in sun, I black. When I scared, I black. When I sick, I black. When I die, I still black. And you white fellow, when you born, you pink. When you grow up, you white. When you go out in sun, you red. When you cold, you go blue. When you scared, you yellow. When you sick, you green. And when you die, you grey. And you calling me coward? These few lines, written by an anonymous poet, do surely let us know about the pathetic condition and the state of mind of the people facing this discrimination. In this short excerpt from the book of Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, he speaks about the inauguration ceremony when he sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. Though the country belonged to the blacks, but was dominated by white-skinned rulers. The inauguration ceremony was attended by dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. In Pretoria, the whites and the coloreds together took part in this celebration. South African jets and helicopters flew over the Union buildings in perfect formation. It was a perfect display of military force as well as military's loyalty to democracy and to the new government. 2 national anthems were played by the whites and the blacks. Nelson Mandela recalled how history had taken a U-turn. Here we have an important terminology which needs to be cleared. Nelson Mandela said that the country or the white Europeans in the first decade of the 20th century had practiced apartheid, which means the rules and regulations which are showing racial discrimination. It was the most cruel and inhuman system. In the last decade of the same century, that system had been replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedom of all the people, the white or the black. South Africa got its independence through sacrifices of thousands of people. Nelson was pained to think that he could not thank those patriots. The white rule created a deep and lasting wound in Mandela's country and his people. But the oppression and cruelty had one positive effect. It brought forth men of extraordinary courage and wisdom. His country, says Mandela, has lots of minerals and gems, but the real wealth of the nation is its people. He admits frankly that he learned the meaning of courage from the comrades in the freedom struggle. He learned that courage was not just absence of fear, but the victory over it. A brave man is not he who is unafraid, but he who conquers fear. No one is born with inherent hatred of people who differ from him in color or faith. People who learn to hate, however, can be taught to love also. Love comes more naturally to the human heart than hatred. Man's goodness is like a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. This is what is the gist of the speech given by Mandela on the inauguration ceremony. In life, says Mandela, every man has two sets of duties. One is towards his relatives and family. The other is towards his people and his country. He further added that it was impossible for the blacks to fulfill either of their responsibilities in South Africa. If anybody attempted to live as a normal human being, he was being punished and sent to jail. Mandela himself was, in fact, born free to run in the fields and swim in the stream. Then he began to learn that his boyhood freedom was not the real one. He began to develop hunger for it. And as a student, he wanted freedom only for himself. As a young man, he longed for freedom to grow, freedom to do and read what he pleased, to earn and to have a family. But he discovered that he was not really free to live even a lawful life. He also learned that he alone had not been robbed of his freedom. Everyone else was also a victim of an unjust system. That was when he joined the African National Congress. He wanted his people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect. He acted boldly, but the law made him lose his home and freedom. He was treated as a criminal. All the colored people in his country were in chains, but he bore no ill will. He pitied those who oppressed others. They themselves were prisoners of hatred, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness. With this came the end of the excerpt being published in the book, with a message to be thought upon, that is the racial discrimination being followed is correct, or do we need to change this system so that we can come out of the indignity and disregard that is being faced by many of the people around in country? Hope you all will think about it and will come out with positive ideas and energy. Thank you. Have a nice day.